Hello, my most amazing artist. So today what we're gonna do is we are gonna make some Zentangle hands. Now, I'm gonna tell you what Zentangles are in just a second, but what you need for this is a pencil, some type of pen, black pen, it could be different color if you want, but just one pen, and then 2 big pieces of paper. If you don't have big pieces, you can use just regular computer paper, but I have a big piece of paper, 2 of them, and I folded them and I ripped them in half. Okay, so in total, I should have 4 pieces of paper. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So 2 big pieces of paper, fold them in half, rip them. If you don't have that, just use 4 pieces of computer paper, and we're gonna get started. Let's go.
Now, Zentangles are a way to create a pattern. So you can use pen and ink to make your own different patterns, as you can see in some of these pictures. And you can also create your own images using patterns, like in a heart, or using a sun, or even creating a flower, but with using different patterns.
All right, friends, so we're gonna get started. So a Zentangle is it's a pattern. So just like we've learned about patterns, a pattern is something that repeats itself. So you can use a pencil to draw out your pattern, but I'm actually gonna wait to use this, and I'm gonna go straight for my pen. Now, like I said, I had a big piece of paper that I folded in half and then ripped down the middle so that I have 2 pieces of paper. And I'm only on one side going to draw my Zentangles. So you can Google Zentangle patterns and you'll come up with a lot of them. Now, my favorite Zentangle pattern is to draw like these little, almost like little oyster shapes. And I just repeat this pattern over and over and over. And it doesn't have to look exactly the same. You can see that my patterns are going all over the place. But I'll also, at the end of the video, show you some different Zentangle patterns that you can use, or you can Google your own. Now, I owe this pattern to my friend, Miss Davis. When we were in school together, she would always use this pattern to doodle. And I just love it so, so much that I wanted to use it for my project today. All right, so I'm gonna fast forward so that you can see me fill up my entire paper with this pattern. Okay, so once you have your patterned paper done, you are gonna take a pencil and you're gonna choose one hand to trace. So I'm gonna trace my left hand, okay? And I'm gonna start from my wrist. I wanna have part of my line touching the edge of my paper. So I'm gonna start there. I'm just gonna trace my hand. And if you don't want to draw your own Zentangle, you don't have to. You can use patterned or scrapbook paper if you have patterned or scrap paper at home, but I think it's more fun to do it this way. So now I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna put it pretty much in the same spot. You wanna make sure that it's pretty even. And again, I'm using a pencil so that I can erase if I make a mistake on this part. Okay, now once you have your lines traced, now it's time to cut. So we're gonna cut out both of our hands on both papers. Okay, now that I have my hands cut out, you don't want to throw away the backgrounds just yet, okay? So I have my two hands. Now they should be like this. You cut them out. We're gonna switch them now. So we're gonna be gluing this on top of this. Now, we can't just put glue on the back and hope that it sticks. So this is where that, you can have another big sheet of paper or you can have two small ones. I originally said I wanted two small ones, but I kind of want one that's a big piece of paper. So I'm gonna grab a big piece of paper, and what I'm gonna do is I am going to glue these so that they go like this. I'm gonna flip one upside down, but you don't have to have them upside down. Okay, but I'm gonna flip and I'm gonna glue them just like this. Okay, so taking a little bit of glue, I'm gonna glue the backgrounds first, okay, because those need to match up. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of glue on the edges of my paper, if my glue will work. There we go. So just a little bit, a drop goes a long way. I'm gonna kind of go around the edges in between my fingers so that it'll really stick. Okay, but you do not need a lot of glue. A dot goes a long way. Okay, perfect. Now flip it over, and you want to make sure, I know it's a little tricky, but you want to make sure that you try and line up the edges of your paper so that both halves can fit. And then once you have it, stamp, 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 very gently. Okay, now I'm gonna do the same thing for this one. I'm gonna do a little drop for my corners. Add some in between the fingers so the in-betweens will stay down. Another way that I like to use glue is, and we do this in the classroom, is I like to take it out and put it in a little container and then use a paintbrush to brush it on. Sometimes that's easier, but it is messier, I will say that. Okay, so now I'm gonna glue down. Now what's great is you don't actually even have to add your white hand on top because look, it's white. So that's a plus of putting it on white paper. You could even use a colored piece of construction paper. You don't have to use white. And now I'm gonna add my Zentangle or my patterned paper. And I'm adding just some dollops of glue so that it'll stick. And I'm gonna put it on top of my white paper. Just like that. Stamp it down. All right, and now you have a Zentangled hand paper. Make sure you guys email me pictures. I'm dying to see them. And here's my finished product. It looks very cool. I love the different textures. Now you guys don't have to use this pattern. You can use whatever pattern that you want. You could even do straight lines, okay? And you don't have to use a black pen. You can use a different colored marker too. Sometimes marker helps, but just know these Zentangles do take a long time. They're supposed to take a while. So make sure that you give yourself enough time to really go slow and make those patterns look really cool. All right, happy creating.